Have you ever wondered how to get into short-term rentals? Today, our guest is Kimi Crombie. Kimi bought her first short-term rental with no real estate experience. See how she did it, how she's continuing to do it, and get some great advice if you're just starting out. Welcome to the Aim High Podcast. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Aim High Podcast. Today, we're bringing you some more information and some financial advice. Today, we're here with Kimi Crombie. How you doing today, Kimi?
Doing awesome.
Good. It's so good to have you here. Kimi, do me a favor. Give us a quick intro.
I've been in human resources for over 10 years. I'm a communications consultant, and that's really my forte. I think anybody that knows me knows that. And I'm typically called upon to gently assist people in solution-focused conversations when they start to go awry. Got a 9-year-old little girl. She keeps me super busy. I'm basically a glorified Uber driver, chauffeur, chef, everything. But I'm thrilled that she's so busy because I love that she is passionate. A couple years I served on the PTA board for her school. I was VP and then president. And I also served going on 2 years now for the Snow Isle Skills Center Foundation board. That's community work and I dig it. I have a protein shake every single day of my life. I've even got one this morning. I work out like crazy. My boyfriend and business partner, Justin, he's a liaison engineer for a large aerospace company. He's got 2 boys. They're 16 and 18, great kids. Justin likes to work on his car. That's been a new passion for him. And he really likes going for long runs with me. Not really, but he'll do it.
Kimi, how did you get into real estate?
It was a longtime passion of mine. Unlike a lot of people, I was into interior design before it became a thing with Joanna Gaines and everything else. Although I love her, I actually went to design school for residential design at the Art Institute. And that should tell you how old I am because it's no more. It doesn't even exist anymore. And then once I finished up that certification, I went and got my communications undergrad at UW, go Dogs. And immediately I was interested in real estate because where I went to school, I went to a smaller campus for UW. And the area was being gentrified and built up around it in Bothell, Washington. And I just was fascinated by it. They were building student housing, and that fascinated me, the multifamily aspect, but I had no idea what any of it was, especially being a college student. I got married pretty young, and my ex-husband and I, we bought a house together. We flipped it while we lived in it, but it was definitely a learning experience. We learned a ton. And this is really before big time HGTV shows became popular about real estate investing and the business in general. But we had people, industry experts from our church, from our friends, from our family circle. It just really came together and helped us make this house a home. It was all supposed to be an investment. So I really wanted to buy rental properties and have passive income that way. And I know my ex really did not. However, when I sold my home, my primary residence in May of 2021, it allowed me the ability to invest my piece of that when we split. And that was the end of an era for me, but it was exciting because I knew I was going to jump into real estate. I had no education, had no coaching, had no mentoring, but I was like, I'm doing this. And at the time, around that time, I went on a vacation to Scottsdale, Arizona with Justin. And we literally just blindly picked a spot on the map in Arizona, a place to go vacation after everything was closing down in my life in terms of how that all went. And it was just next chapter, ready to move on. So excited. Fell in love with the area. And we went back again for my birthday a little while later. And he looks at me and he says, hey, this vacation rental, like we could do this. And I remember I thought about it and I went, what? And then I thought, actually, wait, we're paying $700, $800 for 2 or 3 days to be here. These people are easily covering their mortgage if they have one. Yeah. We get a pool, we get all the amenities, everything is close. We love this area. And then less than a month later, we joined a mentorship program and got some coaching. But what we didn't know was that most students don't come into a real estate coaching program with a plan.
Yeah.
Most students don't come in with any real estate experience. Some of them have never owned a primary residence. We came in and we told all of our coaches, we're doing this. This is what we're going to do. So I know now that was a shock to all of our coaches, but they jumped on board. We had support. We had encouragement. We started looking for condos right away in Scottsdale. We live in Washington State. You don't know what you don't know. We thought it was like normal, that this is what you do when you're involved in real estate education. You invest out of state. I know now there's a term for it. It's called remote investing. And we just dove in. We were 100% committed to our education and training. And it proved to be one of the best decisions we've ever made. I know Justin getting started, he was kind of like, I don't know. This is a huge investment of time and money. I said, I just feel like if we're going to buy a property like this and this is going to be our future, I really want to do it right. So I want to have education and tools and coaching.
Let's break that down. You walk in, you're long distance or remote investing. You're in a specific strategy that's short-term rentals. You're jumping right in. You and I in the same mentorship program. That's how we met each other. You were a fireball from day one, which is awesome, which is why you're actually on this podcast. So let's talk about that first deal. Let's talk about how you went outside that box. How exactly did you find it?
This is a crazy story. So we have a team of real estate agents that we work with in Arizona, and some of them work for one company, some of them work for other companies. It's good to have a team. Our primary agent, Scott, he was looking with us. He was helping us with our search, and we were looking in fall of 2021. The market then is so different than it is now.
Yeah.
It has literally the changes are crazy, but the market is still there for real estate. It always is. We were looking every time we would tour something virtually, because we are here in Washington, we would go to write an offer and then it would already be off the market. So we were getting that buyer fatigue, but we were also being trained to think like investors, not like consumers. So it was a literal 180 pivot, and it did not happen overnight from being emotional to being logical. And we have an agent that is investor friendly, which is awesome. Get yourself an agent that is like that, because he was looking, we were actually boarding a plane to Arizona to go do more market research on the ground. It was a quick trip. And I get this notification on my phone that this 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo in the heart of Scottsdale, South Scottsdale, 5 minutes outside of Old Town, which is a huge get when you're traveling there. It came on, it was in our price range. I called the agent as we're sitting down on the plane, and I'm like, yo, write this offer. This is how I want it structured. We'll call you when we land. And you got it. So that's how we found it.
So let's go through some numbers. What was your expected rehab cost?
That's a difficult question. We were purchasing the unit fully furnished, and there's a reason for that. Being a remote investor, it's important that we have some basics in place. A sofa bed, for example, when you have a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo, you want to be able to say that you sleep 3 people comfortably. A dining room table and chairs, which has proven to be the bane of my existence for every property that I deal with. So we expected about $6,000 to $7,000 in renovations or refurnishing, so to speak, or decor. But there really wasn't anything we had to do. It was move-in ready. And again, that was part of our buy box because of the remote investing aspect of it.
Do me a favor. Tell me exactly what a buy box is for anybody who's listening.
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite things to talk about. So a buy box is something that you have to have set up for yourself before you start looking at properties. And ours was simple. I don't want to say easy. That's different. It was simple for us to figure out. We needed a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom because Scottsdale is notorious for bachelor, bachelorette, all kinds of parties. There's tons of golf tournaments in the area, lots of partying. We didn't want any of that, but we knew we wanted a condo close to Old Town. So that immediately took out all of the single family residences. Even 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom was more than we wanted to bite off at the time. So our buy box ended up being move-in ready or close to move-in ready, maybe some paint, maybe some new furnishings, furnished if possible. 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, less than $300,000. And really I was aiming for about $50,000 under that, just to be on the safe side, not knowing what the market was going to do. And we knew the approximate geographic area that we wanted to be in within Scottsdale because we did that market research. We traveled there. We knew what we were looking for. That was our buy box. Everybody's buy box looks different.
Thank you very much for explaining that. Now, we know that your exit strategy was to have a short-term rental. Yeah. What was the after repair value? You didn't put a lot into it. $6,000 to $7,000 is not a lot of money to be putting in for any kind of rehab. So what was the after repair?
So after repair, what ended up being about $300,000 because of the market conditions. And it's still hovering right around $285,000 to $295,000, even with the market softening since then. So yeah, I thought it was decent.
And even with an HOA, do you have an HOA there?
Oh, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So the purchase price was $250,000. And the offer that I had structured was $250,000 with escalation to $280,000.
Okay.
You're going to ask me what an escalation clause is.
Go ahead. Yeah.
An escalation clause is just where you say, kind of like eBay for houses. It's not permitted in every state. So I know there are some areas on the East Coast where it is not allowed. It's commonly referred to in the industry as a love letter too. Like you can pair it with a love letter, but the love letter escalation is not what we did. We did straight escalation. So we didn't talk about how we were getting started in real estate. We were so excited about this. It was all numbers. So ours was the offer at $250 with escalation to $280 in $1,000 increments, which mean with proof of competing offer, which means we would outbid any other offers by $1,000 up to $280,000 with proof of contract. So thankfully, in our case, it's not exactly how it went. It was a 72-hour sale, which you don't really see anymore, even just in the last 6 to 8 months. And thankfully, the seller was like, hey, this offer looks solid. I'll take that. And we didn't have to escalate. It was just $250. So back to the HOA, our HOA dues are about $250 a month, but they maintain all the exteriors, all the landscaping. If needed, pest control. They literally take care of everything. So in my mind, this is money well spent.
Yep. Yeah. There are a lot of people who will avoid deals specifically due to an HOA, but if the numbers work, you jump on it. Speaking of the numbers, what's your cash flow look like on a property like that?
This is one of my favorite subjects about short-term rentals because especially in Scottsdale is typically a year-round market. Our first quarter in business, we netted $7,600. I thought this was normal. I thought that this was expected. I know now that's not true.
No, it is not.
No. And I just feel so fortunate. That's how it went for us. Granted, we closed December 4th of 2021 and we were rented out. We had 6 days to go and get the place ready. And I'll talk about that in a minute. We were rented out for a month starting December 20th. It's peak season though. We knew what kind of rates we could charge. And this is where the money really comes into play. Because we're in a year-round market, our average nightly rate doesn't change too terribly much. But as you can imagine, I don't think you'd want a vacation in Arizona in July if you live in Louisiana. I don't think that would be your big get. Basically, I mean, we've been there in June and it's 112 degrees, but it's a dry heat. It's not humid like it is up here in Washington. So 86 degrees here in Washington is no. 112 in Arizona, that's borderline. So nightly rental on average throughout the year is probably about $120, $130 for that particular unit. And I will tell you that just being in the Scottsdale zip codes means nothing. You have to like literally read the room to the block to know what to charge.
Okay.
Peak season, it's like on average $179 to $199 per night. So it ain't bad. We basically, our bills and expenses on the unit are $1,650, give or take. So we aim for 14 nights half the month when it's off peak. And then when we're in peak, 9 to 10 nights is really all we need during the month. We book more than that, obviously, but yeah, it's pretty simple.
All right, let's talk about current projects. What do you got going?
Oh man, might be easier to say what I don't. So we just bought a second condo in Scottsdale. It's in North Scottsdale. It's much more upscale. Was not able to furnish it in the same fashion that I was with the first unit. And this unit, the second unit, did not come fully furnished, which is fine. It was move-in ready. We didn't paint. We didn't do anything. I literally showed up, furnished it, had the cleaners come in, and we were done. I will say with the first unit, the Hayden Road unit, it took us 6 days to paint the main living areas, get refurnished. And I sold everything, by the way. I don't think everybody does that with short-term rentals. I sold everything we didn't want on local buy, sell, trade, offer up so that we had a little bit of cash flow to offset some of those costs. We used 6 days to do that first one, but we did a lot more work on it. This unit, we had 3.5. I would say that was probably not the wisest idea for me in terms of timing, but we made it happen. And one of our friends, Robert, he came all the way out from Mesa to help us. He helped us all day. And the three of us just knocked out everything. And I did have to buy a lot while we were there 2 weeks prior to when we came down for closing. I wish we could have closed when we were there, but I also realized probably wasn't doable. This deal was 100% private money with no monthly interest payments and a balloon payment after 12 months, which is glorious for a real estate investor. It's just lovely.
Yeah.
And I think the major elements that came into play with this unit were having to fully furnish the 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, but I did it once partially. So I knew I could do it twice. It's just rinse and repeat. I got some new furniture vendors that we use now. Again, just lessons learned. I think the next one will be even simpler, but I don't want to say faster. I do have that eye for design, but you just can't get everything in that you want to. But there's always room for improvement in this business. There really is. And we take something away every single time we go down there, work on our units. We do our own maintenance for the most part. Obviously, we have to have our air conditioning service and whatnot, but we do the air conditioner vents and stuff. We make sure we clean those ourselves quarterly for the most part. Remember, we bought this so we can go vacation and enjoy it too.
Yeah.
No, we got
one of the best parts about having the short-term rentals. You can go there, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Great. So what is one thing that you've learned as you've increased your wealth?
So I have two. So real estate investing as a whole,
okay,
less is more. Keep it simple. The more complicated you make things, the harder it's going to be to achieve your goals and realize your dreams, right?
Yeah.
With the STR exit strategy in particular, though, half of it is business, half of it is hospitality. Primarily, if you're self-managing like we are. We don't have property management like you're looking at her. It's me.
Yeah.
But with that, if you're not prepared to be hospitable, you're not prepared to be in this business. Right. And that's why I handle all of our communications and Justin handles all the numbers and all the money and all that stuff. It's a great split for us. It works very well. And we've also found having a female as the host name on the short-term rental sites works really nicely with this model. People are a lot nicer. They're a lot gentler just in general. But also, you have to keep your head on straight. And again, this is where that keep it simple comes into play for this exit strategy. On these social media groups for short-term rentals and stuff, some of these hosts, I'm just like, dude, this is laughable. Like, you're mad because your guest cooked bacon the day they were checking out because they cooked it in the kitchen. Okay, you gave them a Dutch oven, several pots and pans, a microwave, but clearly the logical choice is to go outside and cook the bacon on the barbecue because you don't like the smell. It's things like that you really have to weigh.
Yeah.
Look at it and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
There are bigger things to worry about. There's always bigger fish to fry, but clearly not in a rental property.
Never a problem with the rental property. All right. So let's go on to the storing 4. These are 4 questions that may be able to help someone start and achieve new heights. Okay. So first, what is something that you use to keep you motivated?
Oh, man, I love this question. So the carrot, everybody has a carrot that they dangle in front of their face. You need to, if you don't.
Yeah.
For me, that's looking at the day when I can quit my W-2 and just walk. So financial independence is what we say in the industry. What's your financial independence number?
Yeah.
That's my carrot. The other thing I do, I work out 5 to 6 days a week. That's to relieve stress, but also keep my body disciplined so that it works for me, not against me. I won't be able to handle inquiries from potential guests for my short-term rentals if I'm not mentally present. To be mentally present, I got to be physically 100% there.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing is helping people in the business. So I love to do peer calls. I probably do peer-to-peer investor calls 3-4 times a week. I like to definitely brush elbows with mentors and coaches like you. I love conversations about this business and I always learn something. I don't have all the answers, but I'm happy to converse with you about it so that we can both grow and make each other better.
That's awesome. That's the funny thing about this business is people might get into it looking for that money, but they find that there's so much fulfillment in just having conversations with other people. And the majority of people that you talk to in this business understand that this entire industry is about collaboration and not competition. Providing someone else with information and little tidbits and nuggets of wisdom it's so awesome. And it doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether it's somebody like Grant Cardone or somebody as small as me. It's like, oh, sure. What do you need? Okay. Oh, this is the way that I found that it works best. That's awesome. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Really help get out of your own way, I think, too. Like we've had so many things that we thought were big. They weren't. The locking closet. So most short-term rentals have an owner's closet, but not all of them. In fact, I've never seen one besides ours. It's a bifold door. That thing had me stumped for the whole 6 days we were there trying to furnish our first unit. And then what it ended up being is we were out to dinner and I was just racking my brain for how do we secure our stuff? Justin's tools, some extra clothes, paint, stuff that we need when we're there.
Sure.
Yeah. It was a $10.49 lock from Lowe's.
Wow.
And it's a latch that turns and then we hide the key. in the unit. Like it would be very difficult for someone to find it. It can be so simple if you allow it to be. And when you talk to other people and you encourage each other in this way, I've already talked to 4 or 5 people that are like, what did you do for your owner's closet? And I'm like, first of all, I lost my brain, so don't do that. Secondly, keep it simple. It doesn't need to be complex. Just relax. It's easier if you just breathe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is one thing during this process that you learned that completely changed your mindset?
Relax. That would be one. But also, your business is not your baby and your property is your business. Said it earlier, but there's always room for improvement. Always. So I have a binder of information in each of my units, and I painstakingly spent 30 hours making those binders and redoing them just this last month, in fact, before we went down to furnished East Saguaro, which is our second condo, because I wanted them to be really aesthetically pleasing. They can be aesthetically pleasing and there's still room for improvement. So there's a spelling error on one page of one binder. And I'm like, oh, how did I not catch that? Because I'm not perfect. That's how.
Right.
The other thing I've learned is that conventional, traditional, non-educated, real estate investor friendly, whatever you want to call them, folks are going to be naysayers. They will.
Yes.
Justin and I have had our fair share. What's funny is that eventually they come back and they're like, hey, can I book your condo?
Yes.
Or, hey, when can we take a girls' trip down there? And I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Weren't you the one who said, don't do this? You're going to lose your pants? Sure.
Exactly. And a no today is a yes tomorrow. So the fortune is in the follow-up, right?
Yes, absolutely. One thing that I've learned is if someone tells you no, one of the best things to do is respond to the no with, okay, why is it a no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We challenged people. We said, why don't you think we should invest? A lot of times, you know what the answer came down to? Fear.
Yeah.
I said, you don't need to be afraid for me. I'm a big girl. I got this. I got an awesome partner. We're not worried.
Exactly. Fantastic. So keeping in that, what is something that you use to keep you on track?
Oh, man. You, for instance, my coaches, mentors, but really my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist in my brain. And Justin and I have 3 kids besides 2 W-2s and now real estate investing as well. So my calendar, it's Google Tasks, reminders. I also write things down. Like I've actually got a pad and a pen right here, right next to me, just for the stuff that I need to write down super quickly to remind myself. Emails get filed immediately once I've handled them. They're filed. If they're in my inbox, it's because I didn't do something with them. So no digital clutter. I'm a huge proponent of that. I update and I refresh, generally check in with our listings once every 2 or 3 days, just so that I have a good pulse on it. I use a tool called Beyond Pricing, and that sets the price for both of our units. And it just really takes the guesswork out of it for me. It's 1% of the booking fee. It's like I just booked 3 days at my Hayden Road unit in February. So over the waste management golf weekend. And it's also those 3 days pay my monthly expenses for a month and 3 days.
Nice.
Okay. Worth it. And 1% to Beyond Pricing. Yes, that keeps me organized and out of the mess, out of the fray. Open and transparent communication always.
Yeah.
Justin, but also with peers and mentors and coaches. And then just trying to not be in survival mode. I'd rather be in thriving mode as much as possible. I've actually given tons of presentations on this and how to stay focused. And these tools make that possible.
Awesome. All right. And then I know you haven't been in this for a long time, but you're a mover and shaker. So here, it's a quick question. It's the last one. But if you had to start over, what is the one thing you would change?
Probably education first, jump into the purchase second. I have no regrets, so I want to qualify that statement.
Okay.
And our first property, we purchased it conventionally, and then we did a special warranty deed out of our personal names into the name of our LLC to protect ourselves. And you know where we got that was from our mentorship program, from our coaches. And I think that foundation of education, coaching, mentoring is essential. Thankfully, we had fabulous coaches that came alongside us and they guided us. We even did a coaching call from our condo while we were there furnishing it with one of the coaches. It was so cool. But I say education first and then dive in second. Like we were already diving. We were already jumping off that diving board. But again, thankfully, we didn't make a lot of those mistakes that rookies do make. that are typical.
Hey, but everything worked out and you guys are doing great. And I'm very happy to see it. And I love the fact, I'm so proud of you guys. You're crushing it.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Now, we know that you're operating in the Arizona area. We also know that you're up in the Washington State area. But if someone wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, probably Instagram through one of our business handles. So our LLC in Arizona is Arrow Crafted Investments, like a bow and arrow. And then our Washington LLC is Evergreen Crafted Investments. And I'm pretty active on both of those. For some reason, those Instagram notifications just catch my eye, and that's where I go.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Kimmy, thanks very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And the information, I'm sure, will help somebody out and help them get started on their journey as well. Thank you very much. Before we go, any closing words?
No, thanks for having me. This is great. I love this kind of thing. Happy to do it anytime.
Great. All right. Again, thank you very much. Tell Justin I said hi, and I will see you soon.
Sounds perfect.